Welcome to another episode of the OfferMojo Show, where we talk all about crafting, scaling, messaging, and launching aligned and profitable offers. Today, we are going to be talking about a popular, but still kind of like, loaded conversation, and that is social media. We all know that social media has changed a lot. And our guest today is going to help us dive into 5 things that we can do differently on social media in 2026. So we're going to just really look at, and actually have my own ideas as well. So if we have time, I'm going to kind of share what my thoughts are about social media and how, how we can make it work for us, but how we need to shift a little bit to meet the changes that we are facing in 2026. So let me introduce our guest today. Madeline is a social media manager and show it designer who helps service providers stand out online with people first strategy. She believes your marketing should fuel growth, not drain your energy. Through strategic social media content and high converting websites, she's helped entrepreneurs get visible, build trust with their audience, and increase revenue by consistently attracting the right clients. She makes it easy for her clients to scale their business and step fully into their role as CEO without being glued to their phones 24/7. Based in small town Wetumpka, Alabama, Madeline is an Enneagram 1 who loves hiking, reading, listening to 80s music, and spending time with family. So, welcome, Madeline, to the show. I'm so excited to dive into this, but I want to hear just a little bit about you and your story. And I also want to hear what Wetumpka, Alabama is all about.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Lori. I'm super excited to be here. And so we can first talk about Wetumpka, because that when people find out that I live in Wetumpka, some people recognize it from HGTV. So our town was actually on season 2 of Hometown Takeover. And so I was talking with you a little bit before, nobody before the show knew where I lived. They had never heard of Wetumpka. It's in the middle of nowhere, essentially.
Okay.
But it's in central Alabama. And so now we get tourists all the time from the show, and they want to see, where Ben and Aaron Napier, went, and what stores they renovated, and how the town has transformed since the renovation. So it's really, really fun living here. And it's even more fun, with my marketing background, to see the difference between what the town used to be and now how they're leveraging the show and leveraging the attention that they're getting to market themselves better. So but that's just a little bit about the town.
Very cool. I actually live in a tourist town as well. It might be a little bit bigger than Wetumpka, Alabama. I'm in Temecula, California, which is actually considered Southern California's wine country. And people come here all the time from everywhere, to go to the wineries. We have probably 50, 60 different wineries with another 50 planned for the area. So, and it's got a little, their downtown area is called Old Town. And it's really cute. It kind of goes back into the Western theme, and it's got little boutique shops. And it's fun. It's busy, of course, because you're in a tourist town, but it's fun to be in that kind of space.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to put that on my my travel list. That sounds amazing.
It's
That's
fun.
so
You
cool.
can come visit me.
Yes, absolutely. Little road trip.
Yeah. Tell me just a little bit about, your background and how you got into social media management. And I see that you're a show it designer. My website used to be on Show It. It's a fun and creative platform for sure.
Yes, they're the best. So I always tell people that I am a complete like accidental entrepreneur. Like I think I've kind of always had an entrepreneurial spirit since I was young. Like I would,
Okay.
make the little side businesses for
Hmm.
neighbors and like friends and stuff like that. But I never, I went to college with the intention of like going the corporate route.
Sure.
I actually was an English major and did a marketing internship, and I was like, oh my goodness, I love this. This is exactly what I want to do. Fully intended to, have the 8 to 5 marketing
Hmm.
job, in corporate. And
Right.
so what ended up happening though was when I was in college, I started this like little side hustle. It was a social media management business, and it
Okay.
was just a way to make some extra money. Like, and
Sure.
I
Hmm.
really enjoyed doing it. Like it was fun for me. And so I was just like, oh, this is great. Like I can, afford to like go out with friends or whatever. And so I continued like getting clients for that. And so then by the time that I was ready to graduate, I was like, man, I really love what I'm doing. I
Oh,
love
wow.
the clients that I'm serving. I was like, I have this really crazy idea to like, try to see where this business goes.
Sure. Hmm.
And so I ended up taking like a couple of part-time jobs in addition to the social media management business, just to make sure, that I
Sure.
was I
Hmm.
was supporting myself well. But eventually, like I was able to go full-time with my business several years ago. And then I expanded from just social media management to like marketing in general. So,
Sure.
like email marketing, creating funnels, stuff like that. And then
Hmm.
added on website design as well. Cause I was doing that on the side too, but it was just for fun. And then my business coach was like, why don't you start offering that as like a service? And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Like, I don't know why I haven't thought of that. So I was like, yeah, I should, turn this hobby into something more. So that's kind of how it all, happened. And I mean,
I'm
there's more to it, but like
Yeah,
that's it
I'm
in a
so
nutshell.
curious. Like, in while you were in college, how how were you finding like social media clients?
Yeah, so at first I was helping with we had like an honors college at my school, and so
Hmm.
I just started they asked me to like lead that because they knew that like I was creative, and so they're
Hmm.
just like, hey Madeline, like would you mind just like taking this over and like seeing what you can do with it. So that's how it started there. And then I was actually working part-time at a bookstore in Wetumpka, and so one of my like jobs was to do like social media for them.
Okay.
And so then it just became like, that was my entire job. And so, like, not just a bookseller anymore, but like just
Hmm.
social media. So that's kind of how it started. And then, and then like one day a realtor came into the bookstore and she was like, who is doing y'all social media? I love it. I want to
Ah,
hire them. And so I was like, that's me. I'll do it. So it
okay.
was, I mean, it sounds like
Kind of very
just crazy,
organic.
but yeah. So, and that was just kind of like, a lot of answers to prayers too, because
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know, what I'm supposed to do. And then like these opportunities just kept falling in my lap. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Very cool. But it's also a testament to your work. Anytime like someone is saying, who's doing who's designs your website or who writes your copy or who does this, it's always a sign that you're doing a good job, and word of mouth is probably one of the best ways to get clients, right?
Oh, absolutely. Even still, I mean, social media is a big way that I get my clients, but word of mouth is and referrals are like the top way that I get
Sure.
clients, that my clients get clients. So yeah,
Right.
100%.
Awesome. So you started the business in what year?
Let's see. I think 2019.
2019. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you've been in business for about 6 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about
Yes.
6 years. Tell me how you feel social media has changed from 2019 to today.
Oh, that is such a good question. It has changed so much. So back when and Instagram, like before I like dive into this, Instagram is kind of like my main platform. I'm on like
Hmm.
pretty much every social media platform, but Instagram
Okay,
is like my bread and butter. So keep that in mind. Like as I'm,
right.
some of this like applies specifically to Instagram, but when social media, kind of first started, specifically Instagram, way back when, it was more for sharing like the day-to-day updates. It was more for sharing like snapshots of your life.
Hmm.
And now and even a few years ago, like when I started my business, it was a lot more organic, it was a lot more personable. And now I think the biggest change has been just it's a lot it's almost overly curated, and so it's a lot of it is inauthentic. It's, I
Mm-hmm.
hate to use the word fake, but like a lot of it does come across as of that. And
Mm-hmm.
AI, like that has been like the biggest change to social media
Right.
because ChatGPT is writing captions, or
Mm-hmm.
they're using AI to design graphics, and so some people, like when ChatGPT first got big, you could kind of like sneak, some captions here and there, like that is
Mm-hmm.
written by it. But now, like people are really smart, and they know when AI has written something, and so they're immediately like turned away, and rightfully
Mm-hmm.
so. Like I don't want to read, something that I can tell like
Right.
ChatGPT wrote and the person copied and pasted. And so I think those are like the biggest shifts, is like creation of
Mm-hmm.
AI, and then also like the overly curated posts.
I was listening to a podcast with Julie Chanel. Do you know Julie Chanel?
I know of her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's a big, she's who I trained under for my
Awesome.
master marketing certification. And she was talking about, AI, and she had listened to another podcast called, I guess, the Diary of a CEO.
Oh yeah, I
And
love that podcast.
yeah, and one of the things that they were talking about is that soon, I don't know what soon is in terms of time, but that social media is just going to be completely taken over by AI. And you're just going to see, you're not going to know, like, who AI is going to get so good that you're not going to know, like, who is real, who is not. And I thought, wow, that's scary, because that's actually a really, really big change. And again, I don't know. Again, this is one person's prediction, right? And you don't know how things are going to actually happen. But as a social media manager, knowing that AI is flooding the social platforms, knowing that like reach on social platforms, not just Instagram, but like everywhere except for maybe threads, like reach is just so low. What would you tell people? Let's like just dive into these 5 things that
Yeah.
you feel that we need to be doing differently in 2026 to still like utilize social media in a positive way.
Yeah. So the first thing that I would tell people to like stop doing on social media in 2026 is copying and pasting AI like captions word for
Okay.
word. I
Mm-hmm.
see that all the time, and like I mentioned earlier, that is immediately going to turn people away. Like people are so tired of like just seeing the AI generated content
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. And that's not to say like that you can't use AI. Like I use it a lot, like in my business, but I use it more of an assistant rather than like my copywriter, or rather than like the CEO. So like what I mean by that is sometimes like I'll get it to help me outline captions, or I'll get it to help me with ideas, or pull common themes out of like the brain dumps that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of one way that like I use it. But I was actually reading a post that the CEO of Instagram shared the other day, and he said that the bar is shifting from like can you create to can you make something that only you could create. So like
Mm-hmm.
AI can't replicate your life and your experiences and your stories. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think going into this year, just really emphasizing like your experiences, like your life and stories. I think that's going to be really big. um and
Let's stop for just a minute,
yeah.
because I want to dig a bit deeper on this AI piece and the AI generated content. How do you feel about, business owners who are creating custom GPTs, or creating, AI assistants that are trained in their brand voice, and they're using AI, sharing their stories with AI, sharing their ideas and their experiences with AI, using that custom, AI assistant
Mhm.
to write social media content. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so GPTs, that is a really good way to make that sound more like you. I have made several. I have like one for social media, one for just like the back end of my business.
Hmm.
But that's really good because you can train that a lot better as far as like uploading documents that you've written,
Right.
on the back end. I have like a document that I have just like pages and pages about like my ideal client.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so
Me
I've
too.
uploaded that as well. So I would say that those are like a better alternative than just, like writing something into ChatGPT and taking it immediately from there because this is a lot more trained. I would still caution, like, I personally like would never still copy and paste like
Hmm.
what a bot creates,
Hmm.
just because you still have some of that language that people can pick up on, like, oh, this sounds like an AI word. Or sometimes, like, I've told it so many times not to use M dashes, which back in the day I loved an M dash, and I'm so mad that I can't use those
I
anymore.
know. I know.
Just a side note, but so like I mean I've told it like a million times don't use M dashes, and like it still does sometimes. So I always go back
Hmm.
and clean that up. So I do think that is a much better way to like write the captions or come up with social media stuff, rather than just like popping it into ChatGPT without training it first.
So, do you advise business owners to write their copy or their social media from scratch, the way they would like normally write, just to kind of go back to pre AI when we were writing our own content and returning to those days? And if so, how do we keep up with the others who are using AI for speed and efficiency and so forth?
Yeah, so I have several different things that I want to say on that. I'm trying to get all my thoughts together. So the first
Okay.
thing I would say, you can still use it to like I mentioned earlier, you can use AI to outline like your captions, or
Mm-hmm.
to help you get started. I do that
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Again, we just don't want to like copy it and paste it. So when you use it like that, that is a lot more efficient than starting from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely do I like recommend that people start from scratch unless they just like writing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like if they can use AI to get started and then just like clean it up on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
like before they publish it,
Sure.
that's by far what I would recommend. Um, and then the other thing that I was going to say is, I gotta remember. Hold on. Oh, rat. Makes me so mad. I had like three thoughts. Um,
That's okay. Like,
oh man.
they'll
Oh, oh,
probably come
oh,
to
I know
you.
what it was.
See?
So I use AI to repurpose stuff as well. So
Okay.
this is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times what I'll do is like, I'll make my long form content, whether that's like a blog post or an email, and I will put that into AI. I've created a bot for this as well. And I'll ask it to, turn that into a carousel post for me. And again, like I
Okay.
usually still have to clean it up quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit because it's not like I'm really picky. And so I
Okay.
don't want people to
That's
know
good.
like,
Mm-hmm.
that AI has written it, and I don't want it to be inauthentic at all. And so I do go back and clean that up. So that's another way that I kind of use AI. And then the third way that I use it is, once I do write a post or, finish cleaning that up from what like AI has kind of written, I will ask it to like put in some keywords. So this is huge, like on
Mm.
social media this year. And it kind of started last year, but you're not just using, like, people aren't just using keywords like on Google anymore. Like
Sure.
it's a lot bigger on social media, like, and what happens now too is people go straight to ChatGPT or Google Gemini or whatever, and they'll
Right.
ask it questions directly. So we want to make sure like our social media content has those keywords like in our bio and our captions. And so I really like to ask it to like incorporate naturally, of course, like some
Mm-hmm. Sure.
keywords in
Right.
my captions. So that's kind of a loaded answer, a
No,
little bit
it's
all
good
over the
though.
place, but
That's actually really good because if I think I remember reading something about Instagram is actually incorporating like search now in their content, right?
yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
So that is definitely an important one and something to mention for sure because I don't think I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, I honestly would not have thought of that. I actually have kind of a unique niche, and so I have hard time finding the right keywords to begin with, because it's offers is not something that is like searched a lot. So anyway, so let's go on to number two.
Yeah.
Like the second thing that people should do or stop doing on social media for 2026.
Yeah. So the second thing that I've been thinking about telling people is to stop treating like posting frequency as the main success metric. So the CEO like of Instagram has come out with a lot of content about this lately, like a lot, but it's all about like making sure that your posts are authentic and helpful and entertaining. And so quality, like, or I should say quantity doesn't matter as much as consistent quality content. So posting really good stuff twice a week is way better than sharing, like bad stuff every day. And that's not to say like don't experiment with like, different types of posts,
Sure.
like silly reels or whatever that is. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like, if you're back to our first point, like if you're just like copying and pasting AI content for the sake of just like churning things out,
Right.
and you're not thinking about like, okay, what would be most helpful for my audience? How does this serve my audience? Then it's just not going to do well. And that, I don't know what just
That
happened.
was weird.
That was very strange. Just like a thumbs up somewhere. But so yeah, I would definitely advise people just think a little bit before you post. I mean, you don't have to spend like tons of time on it, of course, because we're busy. Like we don't have, hours to devote to this. But just if we can like, slow down before we speed up a little bit and just think about our intention before we post, I find that gets a lot better results.
Okay. That's interesting that you said that, because I recently decided to, I've always had like a multi-channel approach to marketing, and I was posting a lot on LinkedIn, and reach was just horrible, as it is everywhere. And I think I just got kind of tired. I'm too overwhelmed with so many other, my own platforms and everything else to like read social media content on LinkedIn, comment thoughtfully, because to me it's like, if I'm going to comment on, and engage with people's content, I read the whole thing. Like I read it and then try to thoughtfully comment. I don't just like scan and just like put a comment just to say, okay, I'm engaging, right? So I decided to kind of deprioritize LinkedIn. And I just said, all I'm going to put out on LinkedIn is my podcast post for the week and my LinkedIn newsletter, and that is it. And I fully expected like to not grow at all. And just the opposite has happened. Like,
That's awesome.
I'm not even on that platform that much, but I do post those two things. And like my followers, like, is probably, to me, it's growing faster than when I was posting, let's say 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Now I'm posting a lot more on Instagram. I decided to prioritize Instagram primarily because I asked myself, what is the platform that I enjoy most? And I just happen to be very visual. So if I'm going to scroll, like I like, visual things. And the majority of the people that I collaborate with in business are on Instagram, and that's where all of their content is. So, but that being said, I am posting probably 6 days a week on Instagram. And what I'm curious about is, I feel like my content is solid and, good content, but does it hurt? Does it hurt a person to post more on Instagram or any other social platform? Or is it better to just do maybe 2 to 3 posts per week? Like, do you know if the platforms are favoring any one of those, like posting a lot more or posting less?
Yeah. So
granted, content is good, right?
Let's
just assume content
content's good.
Yes.
I have not heard of anyone being penalized for posting, like every day. Now, if it's multiple times a day, then I have heard where the numbers go down. But me personally, what I've seen with my clients, and then like I follow a lot of like the big names, like I haven't heard of that, at least not yet. So, but I always, recommend like experimenting. Maybe you try like, a few posts a week for several weeks and just see like how your numbers, like I always tell people to go back to the numbers, go back to the data. So that's what I would say. But like I haven't seen them like penalizing, especially when it's good content like we're talking about. Like I haven't seen them penalizing for that. But something too, since we're kind of on this topic, as it relates to like reels and like posting frequencies. So trial reels is something that like they're pushing a lot on Instagram right now. And so some people, like I have a couple clients and they don't want to post, a reel to their feed every single time. So like they're already posting, let's see, 4 times a week. So they don't want to post like an additional reel on top of that. And so what they'll do is they'll post a trial reel. And that has been so interesting to me. I've experimented a lot with those because a lot of times what will happen is it'll sometimes even get more reach than like if we had posted it on their feed, which is so interesting to me because you would think it would kind of be the opposite. But they're really like Instagram's really like wanting people to do that, to experiment with those. And the reason why is like it's basically like saying, okay, like which hook works better for this video. I'm going to try with like, hook number 1 and see how people respond to that. Which call to action works better. So they're really wanting like creators to get in there and like play around with it. And so that's why I think that's been like working a lot better as far as reach. So that is another alternative, if people don't want to post like, on their feed every day, or if they have that content and like don't, and like want to experiment like we're talking about with only doing a few times a week, like maybe they just do a trial reel instead of posting that to their feed.
Okay, cool. All right, what else? Are we on number 3?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that was number 2. I had to think a minute. So number 3 was stop talking at your audience. So
okay, let's hear this more. Let's dive deeper into this. Okay.
I get a lot of questions about the algorithm. Like the algorithm, like, or social media in general, actually, like, can kind of feel crowded and noisy. And so, again, this kind of ties in with what we talked about a little bit, but people want stories, they want opinions, they want behind the scenes, they want like real life examples. And so this is huge. And so the way that we can like stop talking at people and more like, share stories or make it more like specific and something that they would actually like respond to is just changing like even the wording on your like cover page on your carousel, for instance.
Okay.
So trying to think of an example.
Can you think of an example?
Yeah. So like instead of saying maybe, like 5 mindset shifts for CEOs, maybe try something like 5 CEO mindset shifts that make me scale past $10,000 a month or something like that.
Okay.
Or instead of like how to grow on social media, or how to grow your social media, instead of that, like do how service providers can grow from like 200 to 20,000 followers on Instagram in 2026. So those are just like examples.
So that's getting specific.
Out, but exactly. And it kind of like brings them into a story almost.
Right. And I think even another way to phrase that would be how I did it. Right. So how I, built my offer ecosystem. So instead of saying, this is how you need to build your offer ecosystem, let me just share how I did it. That's kind of bringing you into like my world. One of the things that I learned this actually from a LinkedIn strategist who is really, really good on LinkedIn. And one of the things that she has said that I like is always in the back of my mind with every piece of content that I write, and that is, can anyone write this post? So in other words, if there is not something in that content, unique thought leadership, a story from your life, a client experience, something that makes it only you could write it, she says, don't post it. And so like every single piece of content, I'm always asking myself, what is a story that I can share to help like drive this lesson or teach this point or inspire people or entertain people or whatever. Like, what is the story or the unique perspective that I might have on something that nobody else could write for me?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that's huge. And like
mhm.
that's I mean, and that's something that other people can't replicate. It's something that like AI can't necessarily replicate. So yeah, that like brings people into the story. So I 100% agree.
Okay. All right. So, number 4 is
Yeah, so that would be stop chasing the algorithm.
okay.
So stop trying to outsmart it. Like stop, looking for like a hack to, beat it. I see people all the time on Instagram saying like, do this one thing and like you'll be on top of the algorithm. And like I've seen, just data point after data point that like if you are constantly trying to beat the algorithm or stay on top of it, then you actually lose like focus of your ideal audience. You
Mhm.
lose focus on like who you're trying to serve. And so I think that's a trap that a lot of people fall into. And I mean, I used to fall into it too. So like no, not trying to put anybody
Sure.
down by any means, but the algorithm changes all the time. I mean, no
Right.
hack lasts and no trend beats what these platforms were actually designed to do, which is reward, like content that people like genuinely care about.
Sure.
So in 2026, like audience connection really does matter most, and being like as personable as possible, responding to comments, responding to stories, asking your audience questions in the caption, making sure that you're like, putting them first. That's going to be really big. Another thing that prioritizes like the human component too is like entertaining them too. And I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but one way to like entertain people, like so to speak,
Mhm.
is how reels are created. So this is something that like I really like to do and play around with, but the more dynamic and human that we can make reels and videos, the better it's going to be. Like overly polished videos are fading into oblivion, which is a little dramatic, but but that I mean, it's not going to do as well. And so like what's working now is like having a lot of movement in your reels. So like
Mm.
I'm sure like your audience has seen like the reels where people are walking and talking, or like the reels that have like a lot of cut to clips, or like this is one of my favorites is like layering visuals, so like photo overlays or having like closed captions on it, just like having things that pop up on the screen, and that like keeps people's attention a lot more. And
Okay.
so like doing all of that, even adding like sound effects. One person who does this really well is, and you're gonna laugh when I say who it is, but he's the creator of the Savannah Bananas. Like, have you heard of like the
No, I
baseball
have
team?
not.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so they're like a baseball team, but
Okay.
they
Okay.
also they're like entertaining too. So it's like theater meets baseball basically.
Okay.
It's crazy. Like definitely go check them out. But the creator of that, his name is Jesse Cole.
Mhm.
He does his reels like really really well. Like there's always something going on in his reels, to keep people's attention. But like at the core of that, like his story is really good. So we're
Okay.
still like serving our audience. We're still making sure that we like address their questions, or like address them in a way that they find interesting. But like the actual creation of the reel and like the editing of the reel is like keeping their attention, it's entertaining them, and it's super super good. But yeah,
Okay.
he's awesome. And like the Savannah Bananas, like big fan. But anyway.
I want to know because this is, for me, someone who is not a video editor at all. I just talk straight to camera and no movement, no anything. I probably bore people to death. Um, what would you advise someone like myself or anyone that isn't like that experienced with like editing reels, but they want to like take the reels up a notch? Is there anything simple that we can do? Because to me, when I think about like editing a reel, I think, oh my God, I'm going to waste an hour of my day, or I'm going to have to pay somebody $60 per video to have like some polished reel or entertaining reel. What else can we do besides that?
Yeah, great question. So, one of the easiest things that you can do is when you're filming, just add some movement in there. So, like you would be surprised how many like business owners I follow, and they're just like sharing a really good business tip, and they're folding the laundry, or they are, on their morning walk. And so that doesn't work with like every industry.
Sure.
Like the super professional services, we don't want to like fold laundry while we're. But any way that you can film and just like maybe in the opening shot, you're just sitting in a chair,
Mm-hmm.
or like you pick up your phone from the counter. That doesn't require any editing. That is just, like incorporating some movement like while you're filming. So that's kind of the first thing that I would say. That's like super basic.
Mm-hmm.
So like people can, try that first. And if they want to get like a little bit, better with editing, experiment a little bit, I would say first download the Edits app, like the Instagram Edits app. It's really easy to use. And
Okay.
it's free. It's completely free. A lot of the editing software is not, but that is. Um,
Okay.
and I would say, something that you can do is you could add like the closed captions. You hit one
Mm-hmm.
button and it automatically generates for you. So that's one thing. Another thing is like cutting out the silences a little bit, and that's super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you split the clip, and then you like split like the second part, like where the like silence ends, and then
Okay.
you just delete the silence, and so that's going to keep people's attention more too. So that's a little bit more advanced, but it's still a little bit easy. And then they have transitions in like the Edits app where you can like
Mm.
zoom in, or you can like pan to right, or you can like
Okay.
add a flash. So if you're like switching topics, or like maybe you're doing like 3 tips to like XYZ, you can like
Mm-hmm.
do a different transition for like each of the 3 things. So those are just like a few simple things that you can do, but like it really like helps make a difference as far as like keeping people engaged.
Okay. Cool. Very cool. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't used the Instagram Edits app. I use
Okay.
bigview.tv to record, and now I'm curious if they have anything like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So I'm going to look into that.
Yeah,
So very
definitely.
helpful.
It's really fun to just like play around. And I share like tutorials too, like on my Instagram, with different things that you can do on edits to like make it more fun. Cause I love playing around on it. Like, but
Of
I mean, that's,
course,
yeah.
of course, you're young. What are you, a Gen Zer or a millennial?
Gen Z. Yeah.
The Gen Z, yeah. Like so, you're like my younger son's age. So you guys are like savvy at this kind of stuff. So yeah, that's okay. I have wisdom. You
That's
have
right. That's right.
pizzazz, and
Oh no, just too much free time probably to play around on it. But that's what I do at night. I'm like, ooh, what's the new edits update? Like, let me play around with it at 9 p.m. at night.
I
But
remember I want to say it was about when was it like that? Remember when like all of those? I want to say it was maybe 2 years ago on Instagram when there was all of these, like you could speak to all of the, I don't know how to describe it. It was like you could be the voices of like these trending things, and you could make like
oh
really like funny videos. Like, oh my God, I had so much fun with that. And I did that for like
yes.
so long. I don't even know if you don't see as many of those types of videos anymore.
You don't, but they're still out there. People
Yeah.
still do them, yeah. So and they're
That
fun. I
yeah,
mean,
they are
yeah,
fun. Yeah, they're fun, like to break up the monotony of just a
yes,
regular video.
absolutely.
Okay, I know we have one more thing that you were going to mention, number 5. Did we
Yes.
cover that yet?
No. So this is just kind of like a little wrap up point. But
Mm-hmm.
it is super simple, but it's just stop waiting, excuse me, for a less busy season to fix your marketing. So, I mean, I know that's like trite, that's simple, but I hear it all the time. Like people tell me, oh, well, I'm just waiting until, this slows down, or like my client load is a little bit less for me to
Mm-hmm.
like focus on social media or focus on my marketing and like, post more consistently. And I used to be really guilty of that too, but
Mm-hmm.
like a slower time is not coming. Like
Right.
there's never going to be the perfect time. And so marketing a lot of times is what creates the momentum, right? So what works in 2026. It's not perfection. So like we can kind of take that pressure off of ourselves and just focus on like what resonates with people, what serves people, and just, incorporate that into like our everyday. So
I'm
yeah.
a huge believer of that as well. I've heard like other business coaches, for instance, say, well, sometimes we're not in a visibility season and that's okay. And I disagree with that. I think all year long needs to be a visibility season. Visibility may look different in different seasons, but by no means should we ever put our marketing on the back burner. And so I mentioned in the beginning that I was going to mention a few of the things that I feel like we should be doing differently in 2026. And this kind of transitions into that. And that is, there are other ways to get visibility in besides social media. So social media is great. I use it a lot for brand awareness, collaborations, whatever. However, I have found that there's a lot of other visibility activities that we can be doing in our business, even tiny little things like reaching out to a former client or applying, speaking on a person's podcast, or me, like right now, I'm submitting an interview to Authority Magazine. And then, of course, all of these things can be shared on social media.
Yep.
So I would say stop relying totally on social media. Like sometimes social media and marketing are so interchangeable, and they're just, social media is just one tiny little arm of social media. So that was that.
Completely
and we've
agree.
kind of talked about this, but I would say stop watering down your voice on social media. Like, I think a lot of people can be afraid to go against the norm, or, ooh, like, how do I really want to, like, they're afraid of losing followers, or, not getting business because if they say something that people don't like. We have to be ourselves. Like, I promise you, like, you will attract your right fit clients when you are exactly who you are. And yes, you will absolutely repel the wrong fit clients that don't resonate with you. And that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
Right? It's okay.
Absolutely.
And the third thing that I was going to mention, and we've talked a little bit about this, is just to stop hiding behind informational content. We have to share our stories. We have to share the ups and downs, the emotions. Like, that's what makes us human. Informational content is safe. Sharing ourselves vulnerably feels not as safe. But I think there's no other way to stand out online these days than to be human. Because people relate. Like, all the time, I'm always saying in the back of my mind, like, ooh, do I really want to share that this launch did not go the way I wanted it to go? I'm going to share it, because you know what? I know other people are experiencing that. And that doesn't make me not an expert because I had a failed launch. It makes me human. It makes me relatable. It makes me transparent. It makes me somebody that someone can say, oh my God, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
Right?
So true.
Those are my three stop doing this in 2026. So this has been an amazing conversation. Tell the audience where people can get in touch with you and what it might look like to work with you if they're looking for social media support.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Madeline Victoria Co. and would love to connect with you there. And then my website is madelinevictoriaco.com. And I would also love to do like a free Instagram audit for the first 10 people who sign up. Like, I'll do a custom review of your Instagram, give you post ideas that you can literally share, this week, and update your bio to make sure that it's keyword friendly and like stands out. So you can just go to madelinevictoriaco.com/social-audit, and I will be happy to share that with you. you. But this has
Can I
been so
run
much
there?
fun.
Can I run there right now?
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I love
Okay.
doing those. Like I nerd out on them. I think they're so much fun. And then I get to learn, like all about their business and like how, their other marketing works. And yeah, it's just, I'm kind of like a nerd when it comes to that. So it's fun.
I hear you. I love nerds. Okay, thank you so much again, Madeline, for being in the show on the show, and I will put all of your information in the show notes.
Thank you so much for having me, Lori. I've loved talking with you.
Yeah.